Welcome back to Garden Talk, brought to you by the Penn State Erie County Extension Master Gardeners. And again, today I'm your co-host, Mike Bailey, along with Ellen DePlacido. Ellen, good evening again.
Good evening. I almost said good morning.
Yeah, I know.
No.
I figured I better stop you. I better catch you. Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna continue with our July garden reminders, our little walk around the vegetable garden, aren't we? Okay.
Right,
And
right.
was I supposed to pick it up here?
Yes, it's
Okay,
your turn.
cucumbers. My turn. Thank you, Mom.
It's your
Okay.
turn. We're taking turns.
Oh, wonderful. Cucumbers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably good and productive by now, and
Hopefully.
they're getting close to it. I mean, this past week we've probably harvested more than 70 pounds of cucumbers down at the garden.
Wow.
We have a lot of cucumber plants because the clients for the soup kitchen and the pantry really love their cucumbers.
That's what they like.
So
Yeah.
we respond to that. So we do that. But you got to watch for cucumber beetles, okay? And then you got to treat them. And one of the better ways is that with that spinosad that we've talked about in the past, and if the infections are really bad, that carbaryl R7,
Mm-hmm.
and we selected that because it's not a terrible chemical, and it breaks down easily, and you use it judiciously. You don't have to cover the plants so it looks like
Spray
it's
everything in
snowing.
sight.
No,
Right, right.
use it just judiciously. I got that out. Okay, you
Yep.
know and as far as fungal infections, fungal diseases, you got to start treating for that. Per our last couple of programs where we've talked about that. And if you got
Mm-hmm.
diseased plants, okay, you gotta pull them because those diseased plants are probably that bacterial infection from the cucumber beetles. So you got to go ahead and pull
Mm-hmm.
those out, and try to elevate some of the growth, to promote good ventilation. Um, One of the things that we'll do tomorrow, and we did the other day also, is that we tied up some of our cucumbers onto the fence surrounding the garden down at Emmaus so that we get
Mm-hmm.
good ventilation. And we have some bush cucumbers also, but we try to use those tomato cages, or at least I do here at home, to
Mm-hmm.
you put them in the ground near the bush tomatoes because they'll vine a little bit. Excuse me, the bush
Cucumbers. Mm-hmm.
cucumbers. Okay, get it right, Bailey. All right,
Mm-hmm.
the bush cucumbers. Okay, to keep them up and off the ground a little bit and kind of give them a little bit of ventilation. They just do so much better. And as far
Mm-hmm.
as the zucchini and summer squash, those should be productive also now. Um, Cucumber beetles again, treat as we noted above, and watch for squash bugs. In fact,
Yeah.
one of the best ways to watch for squash bugs is to kind of watch for their eggs on the underside of the leaves.
Mm-hmm.
99% of them are on the underside of the leaves. Every once in a while, you'll find them on the top, and they lay their eggs in clusters of probably somewhere between 10 and 20 different eggs, and they're just little orangish brown dots, okay, about the size of a period at the end of a sentence. And they're usually where two veins meet. Okay, if you look on the
Okay.
undersides of your zucchini and summer squash, you'll find some eventually, and you'll say, "Ha ha, that's what he meant." Okay, just take your fingernail and your finger and just scrape them
Uh-huh.
all off. Let them just drop to the ground, and they'll be fine. If you do that on a regular basis, okay, every day or two, go around and just kind of peek it under as many leaves as you can, you'll really keep the squash bug population under control. I actually found a squash bug today in my garden, though.
Oh no.
Yeah, you're right.
No,
I
no,
found the
no,
eggs
no.
earlier, and I squashed
Uh-huh.
them, but I'm much better shape than I was last year. And last year is the year when I
Mm-hmm.
started really being careful about scraping all the bugs off. So you
Yeah.
got to kind of do that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and keep those things moist. Okay, those zucchini, they love water, as you know, because they grow quicker than you can pick them. And watch for those vine borers. They lay their eggs on that thick part of the stem right near the ground, and those eggs hatch and they burrow into that stem, and that little larva starts to chew on the inside of that stem. You're not going to see them. Okay, but if you see a little brown sawdust like material, okay, down near the base of that stem, take a little knife, a pocket knife or something, and slice that stem open a little bit and take a little bit of wire and kind of see whether you can fish out that larva. And then once you do, you know, push the ends together and cover it up with soil, you might be able to, the plant might be able to survive. We've done that, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
The books talk about it, and
Yeah.
and I've actually done it. So give it a try. Ellen, I
Okay.
talk too much. What about beans and peas?
Okay, beans, keep them weed free, okay? And maintain moisture. You don't want the soil to dry out, and it's hard. You got to remember to keep them moist, and watch for slugs. If you see slugs, or they're underground, remember we talked about that iron phosphate. You can use that. And harvest your beans at the proper time so that you enjoy them. Don't let them get too
Yeah.
ripe because they'll get hard, they won't taste good, and things like that. So, don't let them just kind of like hang on the vine and not harvest them. And kind of the same with your peas. They might be almost done by now, but what you want to do is pull out those pea plants and then plant some beans in place of your peas, which is a good plan, I think.
You're right, and that's what we've done down in Emmaus. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
in fact,
Mm-hmm.
even before the peas were done, we actually
Yeah.
planted the beans. Okay, on the other side of the trellis, with the
Right.
idea that
Mm-hmm.
okay, we're going to be ready. Okay, we'll pull out those peas, and the beans will
Yeah.
be ready to pop up by then.
Right.
One of the
Right.
other things I wanted to mention in regards to beans in particular is that the Japanese beetles are out and about.
Oh, yes, they
Yeah,
are.
you're right. And
Mm-hmm.
I have that jar, an old peanut butter jar
Mm-hmm.
of soapy water down in the garden, sitting on some bricks. And I go down there. I'm down there a couple times a day, anyways. And I walk around and I look at the plants, and I just knock those Japanese beetles into that soapy water, and and close up the lid. Yeah, initially when you start to do it, you get about 50% of them, and then you get good at it. You get into the
Yeah.
90s, and
Then you can get
yeah,
them.
you can get most of them. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Right.
but my population is gradually waning. I'm finding that
Mm-hmm.
because I'm picking them off, and
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so I'm pleased with that. And
Yeah.
you got to be careful because we've had a wonderful season for those eggs of the Japanese beetles
Yeah.
that are buried in the soil to hatch
Mm-hmm.
because we've had
Mm-hmm.
perfect conditions, moist
Right.
soil.
Soil. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we might have a bumper crop of Japanese beetles next year.
Right.
So, but what about potatoes? Speaking of Japanese beetles, they're there too, aren't they?
They are. They are. But you also want to watch for potato beetles
Mm-hmm.
and larvae. Okay. If you see them, you want to treat it and maintain moisture on your potatoes. Weed again and feed them. You might want to give them a little bit of fertilizer to keep them healthy. One thing that a lot of people don't, I didn't know this, but you want to keep mounding up the soil around your potatoes or mulch them to shield the new potatoes from the sunlight in that so that you don't get those green potatoes that are not good for you.
Yes, in fact, I was out mowing my lawn yesterday. Somebody comes by and puts his brakes on and backs up and pulls over. And says, "Hey, when can I harvest my potatoes?" I go, it's somebody I knew, obviously. So,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
he knew I was involved with the garden. When
Hmm.
you talk about harvesting your potatoes, it's like anything else. Take a look. Okay, get down
Yeah.
on your hands and knees and take your fingers and dig down underneath the plants, okay, where you have the soil mounded, and see whether you can find any potatoes. And if they're the right size being the size that you'd find in a store, you know, pick pick a
Hmm.
potato. Okay, don't
Hmm.
pull a plant out of the ground because there's a
Yeah.
lot of small potatoes left in there.
Right.
Pick a potato or two, go to the next plant, pick another one and stuff like that, and cover them back up, and go on your merry way with your potatoes. And keep the plants going. They're good,
Yeah.
and they're probably still got a lot of nice green, healthy green on them this time of year, and so
Hmm.
keep them going. Oh,
Yeah.
Ellen, we went
We're out of time.
way beyond time. We set a record. Okay. So,
No.
yeah, so we'll have to pick up on this next time. So sorry, everybody. Okay. Thank you. I got carried away with the
Thanks.
potatoes.